Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
All the defensive backs, the ones that baptized me and the ones that I baptize. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. To the people of the book, my people, I love you. The message is, the work is finished. Walk in it. My message to you is, consent to be loved. Consent to his righteousness. Consent to be awakened. Consent to be restored and unified.
All right, with that, I'd like to welcome everybody here to Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville, Florida for our latest installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks. Today, featuring that man you just heard from right there and this gentleman sitting right beside me, Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Communications and Content Manager at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where it's our mission to honor the greatest of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we promote, those are commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty, all of which made this guy right here not only a great man, but an even better football player, a Hall of Fame football player. And we're going to dive into all those later today. And I'm super excited to hear how those values have impacted Mr. Bruce's career, both on and off the field. Now, before we do get started, I have some folks I'd like to thank. First and foremost, you see them right here behind us on the backdrop. I'd like to thank our great partners at Extreme Networks, Steve, who's here today from their staff, and everything that they do for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Without their support, this program wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be giving kids all over the country the opportunity to hear from Hall of Famers and hear about the great values of the game. So thank you so much to our great partners at Extreme Networks. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our teachers and administrators, specifically the staff here at Andrew Jackson High School, for not only allowing us to walk through their doors today, but set up on their stage and host this program. And to all the teachers who allowed us to be a small part of your students' learning experience today, we want to thank you so much. Lastly, we have to thank the students. Students, without you guys here in front of us, all of the groups we have connected in remotely, this program wouldn't take place. Now, granted, I love the opportunity to sit up here on stage and get to talk to a Hall of Famer, don't get me wrong, but we're here for the students to ask questions and learn today. So thank you so much for being a part of the program today. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube Live and you're not connected in via Zoom, you do have the opportunity to ask questions today. Go ahead and throw a comment there in the live chat, and your question just might be a part of the program today. But no matter where you're watching, but we do ask for our live audience here, wait till after the program. Take some photos. If you send them out on social media, make sure you tag at Pro Football HOF and at Extreme Networks and use the hashtag HOF values, and your post just might be reshared. So that's enough of me talking. Let's give a round of applause and welcome our special guest today, Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce. Isaac, first and foremost, thank you so much for being here today, taking time out of your busy schedule. I'd be remiss to say, I know there's a lot of cold up in Northeast Ohio right now, so we hope everybody up there is warm, out of the snow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that the sun is pretty nice down here right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful here
It
in
is.
Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah.
Before we get started diving into student questions today, I just want to talk a little bit about, those values we mentioned: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. Out of those 5, is there one that played most important in your life and your career?
Well, I would have to say respect. Often, as football players, we like to lead with respect. And I think, just moving it off the field, in any industry that you've been planted in, respect should be paramount. My dad taught me respect. My dad was a roofer for 40 years in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he was a respectful man, taught me to respect others, starting with my brothers and sisters in my home. I'm one of 15 children. So respect was big. So just earning respect and giving respect has always been important for me.
So you take those lessons you learned from your life, you get on the football field. How can that same level of respect be applied? I think we got a lot of student athletes in front of us, probably a lot of athletes watching as well. How can that idea of respect be applied as a student athlete, and then for yourself as an athlete as well?
Well, for a lot of us in the professional ranks, as far as football is concerned, it wasn't just how good you could play, how well you could block, how well you could throw a football. But the biggest thing is to earn respect from a player is how you talk to a person, how you treated them, how you treated the janitors that were cleaning up afterwards, to clean the locker rooms, the field equipment guys, those guys who passed out your towels and your helmets and everything, how you spoke to them and how you treated them. Did you treat them like people? Did you respect them as a man or a woman or a female in the building? So those things right there were big for me. And I kind of sat back and watched people and watch interactions with other people just to see how they treat people. And that really forced me to give other people my respect from the way they treated others.
So I like this idea of respect, because I think, obviously no matter what sport you play or what you're involved in, there's going to be respect that pops up some way. But I think the Hall of Fame has such a unique perspective on it. And I love asking this question. So for those of you that don't know, every August we get to enshrine our new class. For those of you that are super interested, class of 2026 is going to be announced in just a little over a week, just a little over 2 weeks, yeah. When we head out to San Francisco for the Super Bowl. So make sure you tune in for that. But this new class is going to get inducted, like yourself. They have that first time they come to Canton when they get in a shrine. We saw an excerpt from your speech there. That whole weekend, I'm sure it's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
But one of those things that every Hall of Famer gets to be a part of is the Ray Nitschke luncheon. And this luncheon is just Hall of Famers, no staff, no cameras, not our president. Nobody gets to be in there besides Hall of Famers. And I think that's when that idea of respect comes back in, because obviously you've played against a lot of those guys. And obviously there's respect between, opponents, respect between teammates. A lot of your teammates from the Greatest Show on Turf are in the Hall of Fame as well. And then there's those guys you looked up to.
Right.
And now you're getting guys to come in that looked up to you when you played. What is the level of respect like in that room? Because you have teammates, opponents, guys you looked up to. That whole timeline of football is in that room. What's that level of respect like in there when you step into that room for the first time?
It's at its heights, because it's the culmination of the locker room once again. And for me personally, when I walk into that luncheon that you mentioned, and I see Mr. Lynn Swan, and I see Mr. Stallworth or Mr. Jerry Rice, that's the respect level. I can only call them Mr. because I feel like those guys taught me the very details of not only just playing the wide receiver position, but just being a football player. When I wanted to learn how to get off the line of scrimmage, I would watch these guys. I would watch a Terrell Owens. I would watch guys who did it at a very high level. And then when I finally get a chance to meet them, greet them, shake their hands, or listen to them speak and to interact with them, my respect is at the highest level by calling them Mr., respecting what they did on the football field. Many of those guys have charity foundations, and that's another level of respect that they gain from me.
I think it's so cool. And I love asking that question because everybody's is along the same lines, but it's a different perspective from everybody. So I think it's awesome. So I know we got some questions here from our live audience here at Andrew Jackson High School. So if you got a question, go ahead and raise your hand. Yes, young lady, go ahead and stand up, state your name, and then go ahead and ask your question.
All right.
So the question is about your career. How long did you play in the NFL?
I played 16 seasons in the National Football League. I was drafted in 1994 by the Los Angeles Rams. And in 1995, the team moved to St. Louis. So I played the lion's share of my career in St. Louis, where the weather was pretty similar to what it is today, pretty cold here. And from there, I played 2 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers, and I was traded back to the Rams heading into my 17th season, and I retired after that. So a total of 16 seasons played for me. That's a very long time.
Looking back on your career, I always like to talk about, we talk so much about the culmination, obviously being the Pro Football Hall of Fame, kind of that last chapter that closes the book on your football journey. I want to talk about that welcome to the NFL moment. Was there a moment where you kind of had to take a step back and go, all right, it's a little bit different than college? Was it, a time in practice, or when you lined up from maybe what's now is a teammate of yours at the Pro Football Hall of Fame that you kind of had to take that step back and go, all right, I'm in the big leagues now?
Yeah, my welcome to the NFL moment happened in practice. Just so happened, on many levels of football, from Little League to playing in middle school, from middle school to high school, and then playing in college, most of the times you were pretty much the best player on the field. But when I got to the Rams, it was funny because I had a hard time running away from linebackers. I found out linebackers in the National Football League were as fast as the wide receivers in the football league. So it took me a while to get acclimated to the speed of the game. And, before long, I started, being able to catch up with the linebackers and being able to run past them.
Cool. All right, we got another question here. There in the back, go ahead and stand up, state your name, say it loud, and ask your question. So we just talked about the beginning of your career, end of your career. When was it? When did you know it was time to hang the cleats up?
Oh man, good question. When did I know it was time to stop playing? I'd say it like this. I found the secret to longevity in the National Football League, which was, for me, it was nutrition, taking care of your body, making sure that, I was where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there. I think the biggest thing was when I was 37 and 21-year-olds would come in. I came in the league when I was 21, and they were calling me Mr. Bruce instead of just being their teammate. So I was pretty much had a dual role of playing and coaching at the same time. And I think it was one day on the treadmill, I was running, trying to stay in shape or, get some extra work in. And that was just time for me. I just kind of heard a voice within inside, that's it. It's time to do something different. So I don't like using the word retirement because retirement isn't in the kingdom of God. So I like to say I went on to do something different, which is what happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking about, becoming a member of the Hall of Fame, and we'll dive into what that means and what this new class can look forward to here in a couple of weeks. I want to talk a little bit about, you got the Hager gold jacket on. So when you get enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you get 3 iconic symbols. You get a bronze bust, a K Jewelers Ring of Excellence, and then you get this jacket right here. And every Hall of Famer has a number. So if you would open up your cut, he has a Hall of Famer number that's only unique to him.
Yeah.
And every member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame has that. When you put that jacket on, or you look at that number, or you slide the ring on, or when you're back in Canton and you see that bronze bust, what does that mean to you? And what does receiving those iconic symbols mean, at its core?
Well, they are truly, truly iconic. I mean, when you talk about the bust, you talk about the ring that we receive, you talk about this gold jacket, and I still remember the former President David Baker. He'd give the numbers of the people who played the game of football, and then he'd break that number down from whatever that was to how many that went on to college to play football, and then he'd go all the way down to the fact that it was a certain number that played in the National Football League. And from there, there's only 300, maybe 82, as I know,
yep,
professional Hall of Famers that have gold jackets like this, and only probably half of that is actually walking the planet. So this is a very exclusive club to be in. I mean, it's humbling to be a part of that group, and just to have those articles that come with it, man, it's amazing to have.
Well, yeah, it's funny you mention that because this gives us a great segue. You know, part of what we do at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is obviously at our core, we are a museum. We tell the story of the history of professional football from the first time it ever happened in the 1800s all the way up to our newest class, and, you know, artifacts that Myles Garrett, for example, broke the NFL sack record.
Yeah.
We've got stuff on display from that game, you know, almost immediately after the game is over. So we tell the full story. And anytime we get a chance to show off the museum, we like to. So I'm going to actually throw it to Jerry Shockey, who's the Director of Youth Education and Leadership at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in front of one of those iconic symbols. So Jerry, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Isaac, good to see you, my friend. And thanks for doing this again for us. And all the students that are tuned in, those that are tuned in that are going to be asking questions here that are remote, you know, we'll be getting to you guys here in just a moment. Those students that are there live with Mr. Bruce, you know, greetings to you guys as well. And then those that are tuned in as attendees through Zoom, and then those that are actually watching on YouTube Live. So we're coming from all different directions here today. And so Isaac was sharing some stats there. And let me expand upon those, because that's exactly where we're at. We are in the Hall of Fame gallery. I guess we say Club 1963, maybe you want to call it. But let me just give you some stats. And just as he said, when David Baker gave that knock and went through the stats, here are those stats. Think about this just for a second. I want you guys to understand how big of an honor it is to have a gold jacket sitting in front of you, talking about what it took to be great. And so think about this for a second. Since the game of football has been played at all levels, from Little League all the way up to the NFL, throughout its history, there have been about 300 million that have played the game. If we go on to the collegiate level, there have been about 5 million that have played the game. If we go to the professional level in the NFL, there have been about 30,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, and administrate the game. There are only 382 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that just gives you an idea of just how elite this is and how elite Mr. Bruce is when it comes to the game of football. And so when I think about this gallery, and this is just me personally, you know, one of the things I come into here, I think of legacy. And Isaac, I know a big part of your legacy is your faith, and that's the cornerstone of everything. And so can you talk a little bit about, I know your legacy is bigger than just this bronze bust that I have here that's of you. It's bigger than just this. So can you talk a little bit about what you want your legacy to be in life, with your family, with, you know, the things that you're involved with?
Absolutely, man. You know, when I talk with my children, I have 3 children. When I talk with my wife at home, I left them at home this morning. There's 3 things that I want to impart to my family, my children, and those coming after me. One is a legacy of faith, because you need faith. Faith is no longer an option, but a requirement to be in this world. So faith is one of them, a legacy of faith. Number 2, legacy of health and fitness. It's important to be healthy, because I like to call health wealth. And finally, a legacy of wealth, teaching them great money management skills, having a mindset that you don't serve money, but money serves you. Those are 3 of the things that I impart to my family on a daily basis, and they can run them off as I run them off in my own household many times.
Or perhaps I can send my 3 boys to your school of training where they're health and wealth and faith. So that's kind of how I run my household as well. So, Mr. Bruce, I appreciate your time here today and all the things you're going to impart to our young people. And Jake, I'm going to send it back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Obviously, we love to send things there to the Hall of Fame, just to give, not only everybody we have tuned in today, but we all think it's cool. I always love seeing the smile on our Hall of Famers' faces when the Hall of Fame gallery gets big on the screen and they can see their bust right there. I want to talk a little bit about, you talk about your idea of, how important your family is to you. Everybody that's here has things they have to balance. In high school, it's your family, your friends, school, and assuming a lot of the people in here play sports. For somebody in the NFL, where this is your full-time job, pretty much every day of the year, 95% of the year, probably. How did you find the time to balance devoting as much as you did to your career, making it a Hall of Fame career, but also being a dad and a husband and a member of your community, all while trying to play this game of football?
Well, I believe that routine is important to us as professional athletes, professionals in any industry that we may be in. The routine of what you do is uber important. For me, I put the focus or the priority on my identity, just who I was as a person, who I was as a believer. This is one thing I believe about identity is that your behavior will never change your identity, but your identity will always affect your behavior, because once you know who you are, that's going to force you to act a different way. So it may be rectifying some bad behavior that you may have, or cleaning up some things that you may not be have in order, or putting you back on that right path that you're supposed to be on. So my identity was always priority to me.
I think that obviously is, not changing who you are with the fame and the success and the trophies and the awards. It's hard to stay humble, and but I feel like everybody in here watching online can see that humility and how important it is, even when you're wearing that gold jacket. You've been lucky enough to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You've been at the top as a team. You've been at the top from an individual perspective, being a member of the Hall of Fame. So it's really cool to hear that. Like we mentioned before, not only do we have students in front of us, we also have some students connected in remotely. So thanks to technology here and the great internet here from Extreme Networks, we're able to get some schools connected in. So we're going to go to Dake Junior High for our next question. So I see you there in front of the camera. Go ahead and unmute your microphone, state your name, and then go ahead with your question.
My name's Levi. What was your favorite team you played for?
Favorite team?
What's up, Levi? I happen to have 3 favorite teams. One in high school, one in college, and one with the former professional ranks. But if I had to choose one or pick one, I'd have to say my Rams team. Just being a part of my 1999 Super Bowl championship team, aka the greatest show on turf. So many great players, so many great coaches, a lot of great personalities in that room, and the memories are endless for me. Not only the game itself, but everything we did prior to the game, as far as the charter bus rides, the charter flight down to Atlanta, and celebrating after the game, just hanging out with those guys and still being in communication with them. That's my favorite team.
Rough weekend last weekend.
Pretty rough.
Rams. Yeah.
Pretty
So
rough.
close. So close. You talk about the greatest show on turf. For those of you, now I assume, just real quick, I know this is not good for live production, but by show of hands, who has heard of the greatest show on turf? All right. For those that did not raise their hand, can you give us a 10,000-foot view of the greatest show on turf and what made it so special?
Well, the greatest show on turf. It was an offense, number one, but it's centered around attitude and effort for us. We had in that huddle 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers, a Hall of Fame left tackle, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and a Hall of Fame running back. It was an offense that was innovative to the point where you had guys that would be running wide open, and it's very rarely seen in the National Football League, considering the great defenses that have been played or been in the National Football League. But it was a culmination of pick your poison. How do you want to die? You want to die fast? You want to die slow, as far as our offense was concerned. And it was fun to play in. It was new. It was exciting every week. Some of the greatest innovators that were a part of it, Coach Mike Martz, Coach Dick Vermeil, Pro Football Hall of Famer. And it was special to be a part of it. So I guess nowadays we're seeing only on John Madden as you go to that next level, and you can pull that team up and play with that 1999 Rams team.
Very special team. Speaking of Coach Vermeil, we have a question from one of our YouTube viewers. It says, "Hi, Mr. Bruce. What were some lessons that you have learned from Coach Vermeil? He is local to our school in Chester County, PA." So how important was Coach Vermeil to you?
Very important. I mean, short in stature, but big on everything else. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned from him, it wasn't a lesson where he actually set us down and would teach us this, but we saw him express and gave a great example of it every day. And I have to say it had to be loyalty. He was always loyal, one of the most loyal coaches that I've ever seen been around. Sometimes loyal to a fault, even from his own admission. But Loyalty was big with him. He's still calling and checking on guys, even at the tender age of 85 years old right now. And one of the greatest coaches I've ever played for.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I know we got another school connected in here. We got Frederickson Elementary School. So our students there at Frederickson, go ahead and unmute your microphone. Looks like they're really cheering for us there. Unmute your microphone. Oh, they're really pumped. And then go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, say your name.
My name is Penny, and what was the hardest thing you had to overcome to get where you are right now?
Ooh, deep question.
What's up, Penny? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. One of the hardest things that I ever had to overcome was just I have to say self-sabotage. Self-sabotaging myself. Thinking that I wasn't worthy enough, or thinking that I didn't belong, or finding a way to really just dismantle something that was being built at that time. So self-sabotaging and destroying my own identity within my imagination, that was one of the biggest thing I had to overcome.
I think that's such an important topic, and especially in today, everybody looks on their screens, on their phones, on their TVs at the success level of some of these, now college athletes that you look up to, specifically, as well as pro athletes. As somebody, growing up that were in these student shoes once, how do you reach for those goals, but not set them to a point where they're not attainable? How do you find those realistic goals to set? And hopefully somebody, may be in those shoes right now here.
Well, I think the help that you have around you from your parents' standpoint, brothers, sisters, like I mentioned, I grew up with 14 brothers and sisters, and they all helped me from their examples, my parents encouraging, pushing me forward, and just believing that I could. So whatever it was I decided to do in life or to participate in, I had my group around me to push me forward, to make sure I stayed humble, which was important to a lot of other people, and it became important to me. And it started to push me forward. They pushed me forward in it, and they helped me to walk in my dream. And when my dream manifested, they helped me to dream another dream.
I think that's awesome. All those things we've talked about so far, I think it's what made you such a great leader. But leadership can take so many different, voices, I could say, or personalities. And for you, you were known as one of those quiet leaders. So as somebody who took a leadership role, but wasn't the getting on you all the time, loud leader, how did you lead people, but keep that, quiet, non-vocal part of leadership?
Well, one of last year's inductees, Mr. Sterling Sharp, said in his induction speech, before you lead, you have to learn to follow. And he referenced that 3 or 4 times. So that's my message today. Before you lead, you have to learn how to follow. And being a good follower will one day push you towards being a good leader. So I thought it was important for me to lead by example and not always, verbalize to someone else what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing. But if you see me willing to do what some may deem dirty work or hard work, for a receiver, that could be blocking downfield. That could be not complaining when I'm not getting the football enough, or just hustling on film. Things like that is considered dirty work and something that I probably didn't like to do, but chose to do it anyhow. That's part of being a good leader, and that's part of being a good example for those who are following.
With all that in mind, can you look back on your career? Which might got a lot to look on here. Sure. A certain play, season, game that kind of epitomized the leader and player that you were?
Well, if I had to choose one game, I'd say it was probably in 2001. We're playing the New Orleans Saints down in New Orleans in the Superdome, and 2 very good teams, probably evenly matched a little bit. But the entire week, we had a game plan implemented where I was supposed to be featured that week as far as getting the football. But when we go into the game, it just didn't happen. We turned and probably gave the ball to Marshall about 28 times. He rushed for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. But in that game, I had 2 catches, 13 knockdowns, And from a team standpoint, I ended up getting the player of the game for that performance that I had. So being able to midstream adjust and being able to adjust to a game plan that's not conducive for you that week is big as far as leadership is concerned in my eyes.
Awesome. All right. We got any more questions here to the students in front of us and Andrew Jackson? All right, go ahead. Stand up, state your name, and then go ahead with your question. Which was harder? Do you look at the game when you played it, or you look at the game as it's played here today?
Well, we talked about this a little earlier. Just that football is just hard. I mean, practices are hard. Preparation is hard. Most playbooks that we have to learn are this big and they're hard. You're responsible for everything that's in that playbook. But as far as comparing the dispensations of the rules that are currently going on in the National Football League now, it's a little less physical, and I mean that in the slightest way, because this year I saw a lot of big hits that were legal hits, and legal hitting, big hitting is often encouraged in the National Football League, and I enjoy seeing it. But I'd have to say, every frog loves his own lily pad. So, but when I played, I always like to say it was just a little bit more physical when I was playing there.
Obviously, like you said, the game has changed so much. When you look at the game today, who is that guy that stands out to you of like, he may not be the biggest name, but this guy has what it takes?
Oh, I'm watching a football game. My eyes automatically go to the receivers. I've been trained that way. So if I'm going to compare what I could do to what a guy's doing right now, I see Nico Collins down in Houston. I think he's a guy who can take the top off of defense and make a lot of big plays similar to what I did. The kid in Detroit, Jameson Williams. Yeah, he's a phenomenal talent. JSN, I can't leave him out because his separation game right now is like, he's at the top of the heap right now as far as receivers are concerned and gaining separation and producing plays.
It's definitely a talented receiver there, all of which is going to be showcased here in San Francisco in a few short weeks in Super Bowl 60. Take us through the mindset. Obviously, you can't get into the heads of the Seahawks and the Patriots who are going into this game, but you've been there before. You've been practicing leading up. You've had to go to the Super Bowl city. You've had to go through all the media. What is the mindset like of these teams right now going into obviously the biggest of the year?
I mean, there's going to be a ton of temptations, things that want to get you distracted. Some good, some mandatory, some not so good. But as a player, from a player who's dreamed about not only playing in a Super Bowl all his life, but winning a Super Bowl, which is two different things, you got to be able to remain focused, know your job, do your job, help when you need to help, make sure that you're hustling or blocking or making sure other guys aren't taking big hits. And the biggest thing is knowing your assignment. Whatever your assignment is for that week, you have to make sure you go over it again in the walkthroughs, in the practices that are leading up to the game and before the game. Make sure that you know your assignment, know who you got to get and get it.
Take us through. So we've got the mindset leading into the game. We'll skip the run out for pregame. That you run out of that tunnel, the next thing that's going to happen is the kickoff, and this game is being played. What is that feeling? Because you run out. How many times you run out of tunnel? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. You run out of the tunnel for the Super Bowl. What is that like, and what is that feeling? Do you get the goosebumps? Or is it are you able to get into a mindset where yes, this is a big game, but for me this is just what I do. This is another game. What's that? It's that mindset running out of that tunnel like?
Well, I think personally it's all glitz and glamour, right? I mean, you're coming out of the tunnel. You have the iconic national anthem sung by, an artist that pretty much everyone knows. The game is being watched by 50 million people. You have family members back at home watching the game if they couldn't get a ticket to the game. But the moment you get touched up, the moment you get hit, the moment you get tackled, you snap back into reality and say, this is just another football game. And it's a game where you have to go out, you have to compete at the highest level, you have to do what's being asked of you and some, And like I said, for a receiver, you got to make sure that you're on your game, blocking, running, catching the ball, getting first downs, making sure that when a route is called at 12 yards, you go 12 yards, not 11, not 13, but you make sure that you're detailing what you're trying to do in order to be standing on the podium after that game when it's over with confetti coming down your face and you're crying for the right reason, not the wrong reason.
All right, so we got Seahawks Patriots.
Yeah.
Give us a preview. What do you like? What do you see? Obviously, both, two totally, if you look at last week's game, two definitely different offenses.
Yeah.
You've got, obviously, you got a lot of snow that was played, and it kind of limits what you can do offensively.
True.
But you got two great offenses, two great quarterbacks coming in, two great defenses. I mean, from a storybook standpoint, this is what you want in that matchup, just great football being played. Give us a preview. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm an NFC West guy. I played with the Rams, and the Seahawks knocked us off a couple nights ago, unfortunately. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, being an NFC guy, being an NFC West more specifically. Since 2001, I'm a guy that lost to the Patriots in a Super Bowl, so it will never happen for me to choose the Patriots to win a Super Bowl right here. But I think the defense from Seattle will raise its head, play really well. Sam Darnold will be probably the MVP of the game, the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks. So it'll be an exciting football game. I think both teams bring a lot to the table, but I think Seattle will end up winning the football game.
I think no matter what you say, it's going to be a good game. And I definitely understand how it's hard to cheer for the team that beat you in the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
We referenced this a little bit before, but another big part, especially from our side at the Hall of Fame, is we get to announce our brand new class. Our class of 2026 is going to be revealed to the world. That next team that you're going to be teammates with. Take us back to when you found out.
Yeah.
What's that moment like? And what are these new Hall of Famers going to go through when they find out?
Well, from a player standpoint, like we mentioned earlier, this is the cream of the crop, being voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We talked about respect, and it's respect level times 10. For me, I was nervous. My family was nervous. We really didn't know what to expect if it would happen that night when it happened. But at that time, we were receiving the bang on the door at that time. So Mr. Baker ended up banging on my door, and we went from really just fellowshipping inside the hotel room with each other to complete silence when we heard the bang on the door. And so many emotions kind of ran through me at that time, and I can still think about it right now. But just every football moment that I've ever had, from Little League, from middle school to high school, to sitting in the very same seats that these participants in here today, these students are sitting in, and watching Farrell Edmonds of the Miami Dolphins come to my high school and talk to me, and just how that stuck with me my entire career. And I get the opportunity now to do it for the next generation. It was amazing. And I could only just hug my family and call everyone I could call and answer the call from everyone who was calling me. And everybody got a moment that day. Everybody got a moment that night. So my football journey is long. There's no end to it. And I still believe the best is yet to come.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A couple more questions here. One more on that subject. You have the ability to see into the future. You know who that class is. You get the opportunity to sit down with them before anybody else. As a fellow Hall of Famer and someone who's been in their shoes, what's that one piece of advice you're telling them?
Well, I believe I'm going to say, I know probably 3 guys personally that are on the finalist list. My advice would be, take one big deep breath, inhale and exhale, and enjoy the ride. That's it.
It's because it's a long ride, but it's a really great ride.
Absolutely.
First off, before we wrap up here, I just again want to thank you so much for being a part of this program. I'd love to get to sit here and hear the stories and advice that not only you but all of our Hall of Famers have for students. It's awesome because We as a staff get to see this. I get to sit in the chair and hear the answers. And, we as a staff are impacted by a lot of the things we get to hear as well. But the way we like to wrap up every program is the same way. We've had so many great little tidbits and nuggets of information, great advice. Say there's only one thing that everybody that watches this program today can take away. So it's the one thing that they remember. What is that one thing you want them to leave here with today?
I think I said it already sitting here today, but it was via stream. But from a live standpoint, I'll say it again, that your feet can never take you where your mind's never been. So dream big, use that imagination that God gave you. He gave it to you as a preview of your future life. Use it for good. I use mine for good. Use yours for good.
Awesome. Well, with that, I'd like to wrap up this installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series, connected by Extreme Networks. Let's give a round of applause to Hall of Famer Mr. Isaac Ruth. To all of our participants here at Andrew Jackson, thank you so much. To everybody who connected in remotely, thank you again. And we'll be out in San Francisco here in a few weeks, and we'll see you all then. Bye, everybody.